So talking about the situation, about the short analysis and forecast on the Russian-Ukrainian war, I would say that our previous forecast that Russia has already suffered a strategic defeat was confirmed, and it was confirmed on all of the developments on the battlefield. So-called mobilization, which we were talking about several months together with other military preparations of Russia, didn't have significant impact on the battlefield. What we see now that approximately 200,000 new forces were arrived to and sent by Russian commanders to battlefield, but we didn't see any changes. Even more, Ukrainian forces continue to play a strategic initiative, and the Ukrainian armed forces, deciding where will be the next strike, where will be the next operation, not Russians. Russians only trying to stop Ukrainian offensive operations, and the Russians trying to show that they trying to attack, for example, on Bakhmut and in Donetsk Oblast, but in reality it's not so strong development, strong progress on Russian offensive as they trying to show. What is interesting that internal situation in Russia, which has had, of course, impact on the battlefield, it's several groups which is trying to create a new order in Russia. For example, Prigozhin and Kadyrov group, which is getting stronger, obviously getting stronger position in Russian system of power. They actually declaring support to Putin, but in the same time, we see that this group openly creating own law and order in Russia. I mean that they could, for example, punish to death people openly on the internet. They could say that this general of Russian armed forces is bad, this general is good, and they trying to show that only private military, so-called private military company like Prigozhin Wagner Group or Kadyrov forces is better. They continue to provide offensive tactical operations in battlefield, but the Russian forces, armed forces, they cannot show the same successful strategy as Prigozhin and Kadyrov military forces. This is interesting that, of course, another group, Patrushev group, is trying to compete with Prigozhin and Kadyrov group, and this is, I think, that the two main groups which pretend to be next in the power in Russia. And of course, I'm not sure that they will kill or get rid of Putin. I think that they could put him on the post, keep on his post, but in the same time they could try to show to Putin that only with this concrete group like Prigozhin or Patrushev group, Putin could keep his political life as long as possible. Because what is the main point, what I try to say, that situation on battlefield and all of war story now for Putin, it's not about Ukraine, it's not about NATO, it's not about the external threats, but obviously it's about internal threat, and it's about political life and actually physical life of Putin itself. So now for Putin, the main point is to create situation. Maybe it will be isolation of Russia. Maybe it will be trying to have some negotiations with West and Ukraine. But the main point is to prolong political life of Putin. So talking about the concrete situation on battlefield, I think you know that Ukrainian armed forces have a strategic initiative here, and they obviously preparing next offensive operation in south and eastern directions, and I would say including Crimea. Russian armed forces and Prigozhin Kadyrov military units continue intensive but mostly unsuccessful attempts to break the Ukrainian defense in Donbas. Generally, there is no reason to talk about the effectiveness of such attacks in the near future, and I think that the weather, I mean the cold weather, which is make more comfortable conditions for Ukrainian forces to conduct offensive operations, because during the cold weather we have a strong soil, and it means that Ukrainian forces will have all of possibilities to use mobility to conduct fast offensive operations, which we saw previously in Kharkiv Oblast and Kherson Oblast. For Russia, actually, we have only massed missile strikes on the civilian energy infrastructure remain the only effective instrument of influencing the situation. And Moscow is trying to cause a humanitarian catastrophe in Ukraine and press on Ukrainian Western leadership to start negotiations with Putin. What I told, for Putin, main point is to create situation when Russia, he is not looking for victory now, he is looking for prolonging time. It doesn't matter by isolation of Russia or trying to organize negotiation. Now he is trying to continue both lines, both trends in development of the situation in Russia. From one side, he is trying to organize this competition between two groups of Prigozhin and Patrushev and show them that who is proposing the best variant for him. This group will continue to support by Putin. Western sanctions on Russian gas and oil in this situation play a crucial role, as they can cut financial support to Putin abilities and capabilities to get high precision weapons from Iran and China, which is I think is very crucial for Russian capabilities to continue these massive missile strikes. Very short forecast: Ukrainian armed forces will continue preparation for the next offensive operations in the eastern and south directions. Russia will try to cause humanitarian catastrophe in Ukraine by destroying energy infrastructure. Crucial elements here, it's a Western missile defense for Ukraine, and at the same time Iranian ballistic missiles for Russia. I mean that now we have a lot of discussion with our Western partners about a long-range missile and air defense system, which is absolutely crucial for Ukrainian capabilities to protect our sky and land from Russian massive missile attacks. And of course, for Russia, which obviously has already deficit for strategic and operational missiles like cruise missiles and especially ballistic missile like Iskander, they trying to get this ballistic missile from Iran, and it will be crucial for Russian capabilities to continue these massive missile attacks. And overall forecast, winter campaign will be very active and critically important for results for all of Russian-Ukrainian war. I mean that next spring will be the time and period when we'll be clear understand what will be next developments inside of Russia and what will be developments on the battlefield, because I hope that Ukrainian forces will continue offensive operations. It means that Putin will try to keep on the power and try to keep in a situation when I think that, for me, favorable variant of the next developments in Russia will be isolation of Russia, self-isolation of Russia, and create situation that they will try to cut off all of links with especially West, even in economical role, and of course keep some contacts with China, India, and other countries from Asia, which could provide them some import and some flow of money to keep social economical situation under control. But in the same time, I think that it won't be successful for Putin, and I could expect that Prigozhin and Kadyrov group will win in this competition with Patrushev, and it means that it will be a direct way to create in Russia like a real strong dictatorship with some, the fascist elements inside, and it will be a natural way for next developments of Russia, maybe for next decades. So because somebody in West, in our European partners country, they think that the next iteration of Russia could be a liberal democracy after Putin. I think that it will be opposite. It will be very strong dictatorship, which will be very very dangerous for Western democratical countries. And I think it will be, in next year will be the crucial one to determine what actually will be on the territory of Russia. Some developments on a democratic, or maybe some liberal developments, or maybe to dictatorship. Thank you very much on this time, and I am ready to answer your questions.